Good evening. It's blowing cold out there tonight. Sit closer to the fire. My name is Minerva McGonagall, Professor of Transfiguration and Deputy Headmistress here at Hogwarts. Many of you sometimes ask how this school really came to be. It's no fairy tale, it's history. And tonight, while the fire burns down, I thought I'd tell it from the beginning. It all started more than 1,000 years ago, sometime in the 990s. Back then, there were no wizarding schools in Britain. Young witches and wizards learned magic at home, or with a master if they were lucky. But it was dangerous. Muggle folk hunted anything that smelled of magic farther than a stick. That's when 4 of the most skilled wizards and witches in the country met. They came from different parts of the islands, and they had different ideas about what magic should be. They were named Godric Gryffindor, Helga Hufflepuff, Rowena Ravenclaw, and Salazar Slytherin. They probably met somewhere in the Highlands. No one knows exactly where, and agreed on one thing: children with magical talent needed a safe place to learn, protected from both muggles and dangerous magic. First up was Godric Gryffindor. He came from Godric's Hollow, a small village in Western England that still exists. He was a knight, a dueling master, and known for his courage. His favorite weapon was a sword forged by goblins, silver with rubies in the hilt. That sword is still hidden here at the school and only appears when a true Gryffindor needs it. Godric wanted the school to accept students who showed bravery, dared to stand up for what was right, no matter where they came from. He once saved an entire village from a dragon terrorizing the area with just his sword and a spell he invented himself. That was the kind of courage he sought in students. Then there was Helga Hufflepuff from the Welsh valleys. She was perhaps the kindest of them all. She could cook food that made house elves jealous and had an open heart. Helga thought everyone with magic in their blood should be allowed. Hardworking, loyal, fair, no exceptions. She brought a small gold cup that was passed down in her family. It still exists somewhere, but that's another story. Helga was an expert in spells involving plants and food. She created recipes for healing potions that are still used in the hospital wing here at the school. Rowena Ravenclaw came from Scotland, just like myself. She was the smartest witch you could imagine. Her daughter Helena later said that Rowena could solve riddles no one else understood. Rowena built a diadem, a sort of tiara, that's said to increase the wearer's intelligence. She wanted the school to only accept students with sharp minds and creativity. Rowena once cracked a curse that had kept an entire valley in darkness for years, just by studying old runes and figuring out a counterspell. Last came Salazar Slytherin. He was Parselmouth, could speak to snakes, and came from eastern England, from the marshlands. Salazar was ambitious, cunning, and proud of his old wizarding family. He didn't like the idea of Muggleborns learning powerful magic. He was afraid they'd reveal the wizarding world to Muggles who were still burning witches at the stake. Salazar once built a secret labyrinth under his home to test his students, filled with traps that only the cleverest could pass. The 4 chose a spot high up in the Scottish Highlands by a large lake surrounded by mountains and dense forest. The place was naturally protected, hard to find if you didn't know where to look. They built the castle together with magic. The moving staircases? That was Rowena's idea to keep students alert. The talking portraits? Helga thought it was nice to have company in the corridors. The great hall with the enchanted ceiling? Rowena again. She wanted students to always see the sky, no matter the weather. They added anti-Muggle charms that make the school look like a ruin to non-magical eyes. They also created the forbidden places, like the forest and the lake, to give students challenges but also protection. And the sorting hat? It was Godric's hat originally. The four put a bit of their own personality into it so it could sort new students into the right houses. The hat still sings every year, reminding us of the founders' qualities: courage for Gryffindor, loyalty for Hufflepuff, intelligence for Ravenclaw, ambition for Slytherin. Everything went well at first. Students came from all over Britain and Ireland. They learned spells, potions, transfiguration, defense against the dark arts. The first lessons were held in simple halls, but soon the school grew. The founders taught themselves, Godric in dueling, Helga in herbology, Rowena in astronomy, Salazar in potions. There were rules even then: no unforgivable curses, no magic against Muggles, and respect for all houses. But after a few years, Salazar and the others started arguing. Salazar demanded they stop accepting Muggle-borns. He said it was too dangerous, that they couldn't be trusted. Godric, Helga, and Rowena said no. They stuck to the idea that magical talent was the only thing that mattered. The discussions got heated. Salazar demonstrated his parseltongue to show his purity, but the others weren't impressed. In the end, it was too much for Salazar. He built a secret chamber deep under the school, the Chamber of Secrets, as it came to be called. Inside, he placed a basilisk, a giant snake that could kill with its gaze. He thought his true heir would one day open the chamber and purge the school of Muggleborns. The basilisk was a creature he had bred himself, fed with dark potions to grow enormous. When the other three discovered what he'd done, there was a big fight. Salazar left the school forever. Legend says he swore his heir would complete his work. The three remaining founders decided the school would never close. They strengthened the protective spells around the castle so only those with magic could find it. They added more secrets, like the Room of Requirement, which Rowena created to help students in need. Godric hid his sword so it would only appear when the school truly needed defending. Rowena's diadem disappeared with her daughter Helena, who stole it and hid away. Helena later became our Grey Lady. You've probably seen her floating through the corridors. Helga's cup was inherited through generations, but ended up in the wrong hands. That's a long and dark story. After Salazar's departure, the school continued to grow. The three founders invited more teachers, and students began competing for house points. They created the Quidditch pitch because Godric loved flying games. Rowena added the library, filled with thousands of books on everything from alchemy to zoology. Helga made sure the kitchens were built, with house elves helping out. Though back then they were free workers, not bound like later. Hogwarts has stood for over 1,000 years despite everything. We've had wars, sieges, dark wizards who wanted to take over. For example, during the First Wizarding War in the 1300s, when a group of dark sorcerers tried to breach the walls, the founders' protections held firm. In the 1600s, during the Goblin rebellions, the school served as a safe haven for wizarding families. Even in more recent times, like the wars against Grindelwald and Voldemort, Hogwarts remained a stronghold. The founders' artifacts still play a role today. The sword helped in the Battle of Hogwarts, pulling from the hat for those worthy. The diadem was destroyed, but its legend teaches us about the dangers of seeking too much knowledge. The cup and Slytherin's locket. Well, they were turned into Horcruxes by Voldemort, but that's a tale for another night. What matters is that the school endures because of the balance the founders created, even with their differences. Every student who graduates carries a piece of that legacy. You who are sitting here now are part of that history, no matter which house the hat placed you in. Now it's late. The fire will soon turn to embers. Let your thoughts rest. You are safe here. Good night.